Shakespeare once said that a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. But when it comes to metrics, metrics by other definitions are not the same thing. So we want to talk to you about demand and some different ways of showing demand. So while demand in this case is equal to people who are over 18 earning $200,000, there's a lot of different ways of showing it, and some are better than others. So in this map at the right, we are showing the absolute amount of demand in each one of these census tracts, and they all are of varying sizes, and that means that larger polygons have redder colors. So you're biasing to redder means more in larger polygons. So how do we correct for that? Well, one way is to look at density. So we look at the amount of demand that lives within any polygon. And now the problem is that, and this is the Mid-Peninsula, Palo Alto, Menlo Park, Atherton, we know they're rich, but because they're so big geographically, the census tracts, the demand shows up all in San Francisco, and it doesn't look like, even though we know these areas down here are super wealthy, they're not showing up. So, okay, so now what do we do? Well, we can look at something called concentration. Concentration is the households that are earning the qualifying amount divided by the total number of households. This is a richness measure. It has no indication of how many people. It just says that of the people who are living in Woodside here, which is right here, right, a big portion of them, I think it's about 60%, are earning $200,000 or more. So it's good in that now we can see the wealthiness down here, but the problem is it doesn't take into account the absolute numbers. So how do we get around all this? Well, we use a measure, often use a measure, we call it 10-minute demand. And the way we do this is for every single census tract, we use the computer, let it do the work for us. There's 800 and some census tracts between San Francisco and San Jose. The smallest is a square mile. The biggest is 42 square miles. There's some that are, you can see, between 8 and 17. So each one of these is an amount of time. Driving time is how we're normalizing it. And now what we do is we collect the amount of demand that exists within 10 minutes. And so you can see Woodside, California here, and it's 10-minute catchment. And you can also see now that the demand is spread out. It's concentrated not up in the Santa Cruz Mountains or in the Mount Diablo Hills. It's in the sort of peninsula areas where there's where cars can go. They can go up into the hills, but you just don't collect as much. So this is a way of balancing concentration, demand, and time.